it's not raining kangaroos and koalas. Okay, I think we are live. Good evening, everybody.
Good
Uh,
evening.
Good evening,
Good
sir. Good
evening.
evening, Prachi. It's so nice to be here together. I welcome you, sir, on our show. I must thank CatFit for giving us this opportunity that we could have you with us. Here, I welcome Mr. Mark T. Medley, who is a principal and director from St. Andrew's Public School.
Thank you, Shifali. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, sir. Completely my pleasure. I've heard so much about your school that it is beautifully nested in the Himalayas. And, it is one of those schools who are providing the finest of education in the country. They are quite an inspiration for everybody, not only sports, music, extracurricular activities. They are looking into each and every aspect of making sure that the kids grow up with certain values.
Thank you,
And
Shifali. That's very generous of you.
thank you, sir. And what is most important, I also got to know that your mother was teaching there almost for 4 decades. So my
Absolutely.
salute to Mrs. Medley, and I know that she is been so inspiring to so many people out there.
Thank you.
Incredible that is.
It is incredible, Prachi. Indeed, I can tell you. Today we are here discussing a very interesting thing, which is avoiding helicopter parenting. We all are somehow doing something right and something wrong. So before I start to get into the question answer round, I would request Mark T. Medley to talk about it.
Thank you, Shifali. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, Hi, Prachi. Nice to be on screen
Hello.
with you too.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yes, Shifali. As today's topic by title itself, it's very self-explanatory. Helicopter parenting. Well, the word helicopter in itself is pretty ominous, especially when you have it hovering close over your head. It's thunderous to hear. It kicks up a tornado around you all the time, and it kind of grabs your attention, and that's the only thing that grabs your attention, and kind of lose the ability to look beyond, feel beyond, hear beyond, and understand anything beyond that tornado. That's the dangerous part about helicopter parenting. Now, just to give a little bit of a backdrop here, helicopter parenting was an analogy that was drawn up ironically by a child. And this child was talking to his mentor and referred to his mother being like a helicopter. And that's from where this terminology actually got some traction, and it has kind of stuck. But I think as we go on, we will realize we have become worse than helicopter parents. In fact, we have become drone parents and GPS parents too.
You're
as,
right.
as,
Absolutely.
Right.
so, I mean, see, a lot has been spoken about those parents that don't really care and contribute into the lives of their children. Rightly so. And it needs our attention. And continuously, that's an area where each parent needs to strive and keep introspecting to see how active one is in the lives of your children. Now, what is ironically not spoken about so often is, am I a helicopter parent? And what makes this more dangerous is surveys show that educated parents have a tendency of being more helicopter parents. More helicopter parenting is done by educated, skilled professionals and individuals, people who've had a solid education, who you'd expect to have a solid psychology, a sane, balanced mind, and understanding of a holistic understanding of this world. And they will know because they work in professional workspaces. They would understand the skill set that is required for an individual to be successful. But sadly, in their endeavor to skill their children with those attributes, what they end up doing is largely detrimental to their children. Coming back onto point, Helicopter parent is a style of parenting that is impeding children from developing themselves, where a parent feels, now mind what I'm going to say, the parent feels that a child cannot be successful
Right.
unless the parent is protecting and preventing and in every turn hovering over every happening and micromanaging every moment and steering their children towards some preconceived notion of a certain type of subject, certain type of college, and a certain type of careers that their children must, must at any cost, come hell or high water, they have to make it to. And setting that benchmark in itself is a very dangerous thing. And if you put yourself into the place of the child who is put through that torment day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out, year in and year out, you see entire childhoods just being wiped out, children not really having an opportunity to enjoy their childhood, or not really having a childhood because
Right.
of this
Right.
helicopter parenting that is being carried out with such confidence. And the sad part is the parents feel they're doing the best thing that they can do for the children. So it's a double-edged sword. It's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, sir. And I think somewhere at the back of their mind, the parents, they believe that whatever mistakes they have made, maybe they don't want their children to make them. And but there is one thing I would like to ask Prachi. She's a psychologist here, and Prachi, that I really want to know that there is a certain characteristics of such kind of parents, and how
Right.
can you identify, how can a parent actually judge himself or herself that whether he or she is a helicopter parent? Because I think if they analyze ki, okay, maybe this is what we are becoming, maybe they can
Right.
actually change their course, or they can actually intelligently think about it, and maybe work towards it, maybe not like change their way of functioning. What would you say
Right.
about that?
See, as a psychologist and being in schools and being with children for so many years now, even in my friend circle, I'm a mother too. I have seen so many mothers, parents like this. So, if you actually want to judge yourself that whether you are a helicopter parent or not, it you can start since your kid is a toddler. It's not like that this goes only in teenage. Since your child is a toddler, we have seen many parents that they don't let kids play freely, like they want to avoid every possible injury, and we all know that this is not actually practically possible. Injuries are again a part of growing up. Then if the child is in elementary stage or primary school, we have seen some parents enrolling their kids in every activity, whether it is sports or music or painting, without realizing that where their child is actually interested in learning or not, you know. But just they want that my child should do this as well, that as well. Then continuously, being in touch with the teacher is an important thing. But as Marxo said, that you're continuously hovering. I mean, they are going to school and talking to the principal and teachers that my child should sit on this bench and my child should be friend with this person only. Or Marxo must have experienced this, that some parents come and they must have told you this class teacher should be there only, or this subject teacher should be there for my child. So if you
Ma'am,
want
that's
to
sorry.
take every decision, right, right, sir. So please continue.
I was just saying we call that teach the teacher and coach the coach syndrome. We have plenty of it, yes.
Right, right.
And I'm sure I'm not speaking for myself only.
I'm sure, sir. I'm sure. There are definitely
Even
there are schools and teachers that face this problem of helicopter parents. There is no doubt about it. So, how does the school life and the teacher learning process is affected by such parents, sir?
Uh, Ma'am, I'll go back a little bit.
Okay, sir. Sure.
Initially, when you introduced this to Prachi, you said many often parents don't want their children to repeat the same mistakes that they've made in their own life,
That's true. That's true.
right?
I mean, that's
I
what
think that
their
is the excuse,
mindset
ma'am.
is, I think. Yeah, that's the excuse. I think that's their mindset. कि जो हमने
That's
गलती
the
करी है, तुम
true,
नहीं करो. But it's a big
bilkul.
price to
Now
pay.
that is the it is, and that's in where lies the problem. Because if
Right.
we as adults are not able to look past our own excuses and recognize our own excuses, and if we are using our excuses as a validation to what we do to our children and what we are expecting from them because of our own insecurities, basically,
Right.
it doesn't go down well with the child. Now we
Right.
all know cognitive learning, emotional learning begins to happen at a very young age, and the psychologist at the panel will back what I'm saying. It happens at a very, very young age. And you have children by the age 7 or 8, they are beginning to decipher between the hypocritical parent and the real parent. Believe me, your children can see past your hypocrisy. It's
Of
another
course.
issue that they can't fight back. It's another issue that they can't speak their mind because you won't let them. It's another issue that you haven't told them repeatedly you love them enough. It's another issue
Very
that you have not told them, I love you no matter what, even if, God forbid, you fail once in a while. We have never told our children these things. Very few of us
that's
tell our children these things. That even if is very important. So, how we as
wow.
a school deal with this becomes very difficult. Because when you are faced with a parent who is a helicopter parent, like I had said initially in my briefing, more often than not, they're very educated people. And very educated people understand that they have a scientific brain and they know from where they're coming from. So therefore, they believe that they're not under any sort of fallacy. They believe that what they're doing is the right thing. So to
Absolutely.
undo their belief pattern is the most difficult part of the problem. And I would say, in fact, I would advocate to every parent, it is better to allow your child to fail at the preparatory and the sub middle school, and even to a certain extent into the middle school level, so that your child begins to understand how to cope and bounce back from failure. What it feels like to be at point zero, and when you hit rock bottom, and when there's no more lower that you can go, how you've got to clamber your way out and climb yourself out of that hole.
Wow,
And
that's a
sadly, when we
beautiful
sorry,
point. But I said, sir, that's a beautiful point that you just mentioned. And I think that's a big learning
it's
for
so
parents.
imperative. It's so imperative because see, I mean, what is a helicopter parent doing? It is only increasing dependency on all
Right.
fronts.
Right.
It increases the child's dependency emotionally on the parent. I will only do what mommy and daddy tell me to do. Only what mommy and daddy tell me to do is right. Nothing else is right. I will only do what I am told when I am told, and if I am told. If I am not told, and if I'm not told what to do, I will not do it. If I'm not told how to do it, I cannot do it. So they're never exploring their inner genius. They're never stretching their own character. They're never wanting to even peel off peels of an onion to discover what is really inside them. They never get to understand their true potential. So
That's
as teachers and as mentors, it becomes very hard and it becomes very sad because we see in a child that is coming from that is being subjected to helicopter parenting. You can see it. Whether it be a child coming into the boarding school, the box is put in the locker room, and the mom and dad walk away, and here's this child just staring at his box, not knowing what comes next. He doesn't even know, apart from unlocking his box, now what is he supposed to do with this box full of garments and toiletries and XYZ? He is totally stumped. He cannot move forward. Children who come to day school as day scholars in the morning and go to school in the evening, many children come to us in class 1, that's age 5 plus 6. They open their tiffin boxes at recess and they don't know how to go about eating
Oh my
because they
God.
have been spoon fed by either the maid in the house or by the mothers or chachis or grandmothers or someone or the other. So helicopter parenting can be a very dicey thing. So as teachers and as schools, what we try and do, we try and take a soft approach where we encourage teamwork, where the child slowly sees and understands and learns by observation. Let's see if he can do it and she can do it, and so can I. And I
Wow.
can drop my inhibitions. And there's no problem with me making a mistake. I can drop a little bit of achar on my clothes and not worry about it. I can drop a piece of potato on the floor and not worry about it. I'm not going to be judged for it. I'm not going to be scrutinized for it all the time. It becomes difficult for the children. I'm sure we will touch on that topic further on in the debate. But
I
yeah,
love.
as schools, sorry, we
Sorry.
try and call the parents in after we have observed long enough to see how deep the problem lies. Because
Wow.
different children get affected by it to different levels, and helicopter parentings vary in intensity. So one has to see the amount of damage that has already been done. We've got to take a step back often from the problem. First, completely analyze the problem, what's going on, try and identify which of the two parents is the helicopter parent, if not both.
Right.
And then we have to bring the parents in one by one and give them example and give and rake up history of our own school, of students that they've seen growing up in the past, and show them by example. You see, this is what they hoped for, and now where are these children? I'm afraid I can say it boldly that even here I have witnessed over the past 30 years of teaching, I have witnessed at least two children committing suicide because of something like this.
Right.
Because they have not just been able to live up to the aspiration of their parents.
Wow.
They've gone from high school into the intermediate level school taking sciences and mathematics, which was not their skill set, but they just felt pressure to do so. And when they went into class 11 and 12, when they couldn't manage it, they just did the most unimaginable thing. But they
Right.
just didn't want to disappoint their parents. And that, can you imagine? Not wanting to disappoint your parent is the reason you take your own life. How sad is that?
That's
I
Right.
very
think
sad.
that's the ultimate betrayal of a parent. If you're a helicopter parent, and if you're
Yeah.
continuing to stay a helicopter parent, it's the ultimate betrayal that you can do with your child.
Wow,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is quite
So
an insight. I think that's quite an insight, sir. I can tell you. There are a couple of things that you mentioned that I'd like to re-emphasize on, which I really thought I have also. I've seen this very closely, sir, because I deal with a lot of children, and I realize this that the kind of pressure that parents put on the child, कि तुमने ऐसे ही करना है. They don't let the child use his or her imagination. They don't. And so, according to me, they kill that child's imagination. And then, because the child has to please the parents, so वो बेचारा वही करता है जो उसको मम्मी ने या पापा ने बोला है. बिकॉज अगर वो थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट सोचता है तो पेरेंट्स से अरे तुम हमारी बात ही नहीं मान रहे हो. And suddenly there is a disconnect somewhere between the parent and the child. And whatever said and done, I think when we are little, everybody wants that feeling of being loved. Initially, they want that acceptance by their own parents, most important. And believe me, if you can correct me, Prachi, but I feel this goes a long way in your life. बहुत
Right.
देर तक आप उस डायरेक्शन में देखते रहते हो कि मेरे पेरेंट्स मेरे को अप्रूव कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं.
Actually, what Mark sir also said, and now what you are saying, Shefali ma'am, it has direct impact on a child's psychology. Like Mark sir said, that a child is not, the basic life skills that should be there in a person, in an individual. It is missing in the children of helicopter parents. The decision making skill regarding मैं आज क्या खाऊं लंच में और which activity I should choose in my co-curriculum activity, or which subject I should choose. This decision is also the child is not able to take, whether it is problem solving, decision making. And the basic part is, if a child, you have break the chain, like you have break that communication between yourself and your child, and then the child is not feeling being loved, the child is not feeling being he I can be acknowledged by my parents, then that anxiety creep up, then the fear creep up. And the thing is that the main thing is that we should teach our children to face real world. And the helicopter parents are failing here, that they are not able to teach children that how they are going to face the reality, how they are going to face the failures. And even their biggest fear is what, that I am disappointing my parents.
That's a very big fear, that's a very big fear that children have. And क्योंकि हम उनको शुरू में कुछ decisions लेने नहीं देते, we don't let them take the decisions. And when they grow up, parents without realizing, like, oh, I'm so surprised you can't take a simple decision in your life.
Right.
Because they are not used to using their minds. And to a certain extent, sir, I feel that, these kind of kids become a victim of split personalities.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely. No doubt.
they are behaving in a certain fashion in front of their parents, and when given a chance, behaving completely differently when the parents are not around.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's when
what's sadder is how we react as parents.
Yes.
I was saying what is sadder is how we respond as parents to our children's failures or their inability to score those perfect A's. Very often parents hold back. They say, okay, ठीक है, तुमने ये test ठीक से नहीं किया, मुझसे बात मत करना. We ration love. We hold back on love. And that is the worst thing that you can do. What you need to do at a time like that is actually embrace your child, because the child is anyway feeling terrible that he or she has let you down. The child is not enjoying that moment. No one enjoys failure. Nobody enjoys falling short. But that is the time when the child needs to be embraced the tightest and needs to be reminded the most. And no matter how you are, in whatever shape, form, ability or disability, you are the most precious thing under the sun. And it's through that confidence that you infuse into your child. It's that confidence that gives the child a sense of self-belief. By us pulling away our love all the time and giving our children ultimatum and bribing our children, तुम 10 out of 10 लाओगे, मैं तुमको फलाना दे दूंगा, तुम ऐसा करोगे तो धमकाना दे दूंगा. These are methods that are not going to work, and they are not working. Therefore, we have children growing up. They will keep their mouths closed until they are 16 or 17, but they'll mouth you back when they're 17 or 18, because that's all you've done to them all their lives. That's all they have learned. That's the only way they have seen you express yourself. So that's what they've learned, how to express back that way. Is I'll mouth back to you. So these things have a very dangerous knock-on effect. It's very fruitless. Very fruitless.
It's quite sad, actually, when I think about it. Parents don't realize that unconditional way of love is what should be actually in their lives. This conditional love never works. As you said, कि भाई तुम इतने number लाओगे तो ऐसे होएगा. I mean, actually, the child is cracking from within. And as you mentioned some time back, there are cases, like extreme cases, where actually kids commit suicide. I mean, what a shame that you have to lose your child over something so stupid, like getting good marks in an exam. I remember the kind of pressure. I must share this thing, and I share it on a lot of forums. A couple of years ago, so I have a son who is 16, so he recently gave exams for his 10th board. And some years ago, I remember one day he was just sitting like this, and I was like, what happened? He says, Mama, I'm a little worried. I'm like, worried? Worried about what? You will not believe it, what he said to me. He goes, I'm really worried about my children. I said, excuse me? About your children? I mean, like, he was probably 13 or something. I was like, your children? He's like, yeah. I said, why? He says, right now there's so much pressure that we have to get 98 and 99%. By the time I will have my children, what will I do? Just think about it. And now that we have pandemic, that kind of stress, all the time we're doing online class, and kids, it's not easy for the teachers, it's not easy for the kids, but at the end of the day, all parents want कि तुम ये भी करो, ये भी करो, ये भी करो. They want to treat their child like a trophy.
Right. And then Shefali ma'am, it comes with comparisons also. है ना?
Of course.
The parents are keep comparing the child that see, your friend is also doing this, and he's also dancing also, he's playing also and scoring good marks also. I mean, we are the one who are making our kids feel that you don't have this ability, or you are short of something. The self-esteem we are talking about, self-confidence we talk about, and we are the one who are actually, suppressing their confidence and their self-esteem.
We are. I think that's exactly what Sir mentioned. Sir, don't you think that, parents should know that this is high time we should stop this? Or, those signs come and you realize that, I think I'm doing a hell of a lot negative for my child. What is that little sign that you think parents should be wary of? What do you think? What is your little tip for that?
Signs are plenty. There is no shortage of signs to know whether you are a helicopter parent or not. But whether you're going to be prepared to wear that cap and say, I put my hand up, I am at fault in this. I'm in the wrong over here and I need to correct myself. There lies the issue. Signs are plenty. If you're fighting your children's battles, you're a helicopter parent. Wow. If you're helping your children with their assignments and their homework, and even a simple science project, you want them to get a certificate, you want to have the joy of seeing them on the stage on prize distribution day, you're a helicopter parent if you're doing it for the children. There's one thing in encouraging a child, allowing the child to explore his or her own ideas and chipping in with ideas and encouraging the children and coaching the children to move and find and explore new dimensions. That's another thing. But doing the assignments for the children and having someone in the market prepare a fancy project so that you can submit to school, you're a helicopter parent. If you're coming to school and teaching the teachers, if you're coaching the coach on the games field, you're a helicopter parent. If you keep your child on a very short leash, you go to the mall, for example, or let me say this: you go to a family reunion and sorts, and you have told your child, "नहीं तुम मेरे बगल में बैठोगे, तुम कहीं नहीं जाओगे." And the child has to sit right beside you or within your eye-shot range. Somebody is suffering from a trust deficit there. It's not the child. These are all signs to show that you are a helicopter parent. If you're bubble wrapping your child, Prachi had mentioned it before. If you're bubble wrapping your child, you're afraid of your child even getting scraped or bruised, you're a helicopter parent. If the child is taking part in high jump and long jump and is twisted his ankle or doing high jump and worse comes to worse, breaks an arm, and your first response is to go to the local thana and lodge an FIR, you're desperate helicopter parent. We have these kind of responses from parents.
Right.
And if finally, most importantly, if the parent is able to answer this very difficult question, are you incapable to see that your child can lose? Are you incapable to cope with the loss of your child? I don't mean as in terminal loss. I mean, if your child fails in a subject, are you going to be able to cope with that? If you can't cope with that, you're a helicopter parent. So signs are plenty. Signs are plenty. It's what you're willing to do about it that makes it.
See, Mark, sir, adding to this, I mean, whatever you said, this has impact on parents as well. I mean, if you're a helicopter parent, your life is only revolving around your children. That means you're ignoring yourself, you're ignoring your other relationships, friendship, maybe spouse. And this is again a sign that we should ask ourselves as a parent, that because my kid is having an assignment or project or an exam, am I ignoring my other relationship? Maybe my mother's birthday or maybe my husband's promotion. I mean, is it me who is not giving importance to any other person rather than my child? And this is definitely going to impact a helicopter parent, his or her psychology, and the whole family atmosphere as well, right?
Very beautifully put up thing, coming from you, Prachi, it means a
True,
lot.
Prachi.
It's also given me a very different kind of dimension to think about. But I have a confession. I have a confession. I have a confession to make right here. And I think it's a good time. Why I like to be honest is purely because I want people to learn from other people's mistake. I am also a storyteller, Marksa. So I always tell my stories so that people can learn from my stories. My honest confession is that when my son was little, I think I was a helicopter parent as well. Okay. I had
put my hand up to that one too, ma'am. I'm a father of 2 children. My boy is 24 and my girl is 16. And for my boy, I was terrible.
I realized, I don't know where I had read, when you're a new mother, I had read it somewhere कि बच्चे को गिरने नहीं देना चाहिए, कि कुछ बहुत damage हो जाता है. Something happens, that some crib death and, so many things I had read. So, every night I would get up and check on my child and, believe me, Prachi, मैंने उसको कभी गिरने नहीं दिया. And in one forum, I was talking to so many parents and I realized, I said, मैंने पहले सोचती थी कि मैंने इसको गिरने नहीं दिया. But by the time when he reached 10, I was just sitting and thinking about it. I said, मैंने इसको क्यों गिरने नहीं दिया? क्यों? इतना मैंने, I was very careful and that's the only child I have. So I was like, my life actually really revolved around him. Okay, fine, I'll be honest. I never did his homeworks. Okay, he was quite a brilliant child. I didn't have to do all that. Thank God. Thank God for that. But other things like his routine, his khana pina, his everything, my life was 24/7 mom. Even in the middle of the night when he would sneeze, I would jump out of the bed. I would, the tissue box was a little bit far-fetched and I would pick it up in the middle of the night and wipe his nose.
See, Shefali ma'am, there is a thin line.
I was obsessed. And then I remember, but I must tell you, when I became aware of it, that was my changing moment. The day I became aware of it, I started changing my way of functioning. I said, it can't be like that. He needs to take out his clothes, what he wants to wear. It took me some time because his combinations were weird, but it's okay. I mean, it was all right. I mean, till date, my son eats paratha with a knife and fork because he doesn't want to mess his hand. And I keep telling him, I said, yaar, Hindustani ho, aise mat karo, yaar. What are people going to say? But then I realized uska galti nahi hai because all the time
नहीं मैम, अगली बार डोसा खाएगा उसको सांभर के लिए स्ट्रॉ दे देना.
That was good one, sir. But Shefali ma'am, actually there is a thin line between a insecure or an anxious mother or parent and a parent who is always hovering over the child.
Thank God.
What you are telling, what you are saying, that means you see every mother, even the initial stages. I am also mother of 2 boys, and my younger one's knees and legs are full of bruises. You can say kitna girta hai ye, but ठीक है, I can't help it because jumping and what not. We have a tree house here, so. But again, I'm coming back to the point that insecurity and anxiety is a part and parcel of parenthood, right? But we should know where to draw a line.
Absolutely.
We should know, we should be aware. Like the moment you become aware, you become vigilant. And ठीक है, अगर even the child is picking up weird combinations, the child should be able to take it कि friends जब हंसेंगे तो उसको वो भी tackle करके आना चाहिए. This is the life teaching our child.
Yes, yes. And the minute I let go, I realized that slowly, steadily, he started building into this fantastic boy. And I mean, he was always good. But now that I let him go, it became easy for me. It became easy for him. He didn't realize it probably at age 10. He didn't realize it. And anyhow, I was very appreciative of whatever he did. Whether he did something as an artist, whether he made something as a chef or his studies. I was always, very appreciative mother. In fact, others used to tell me he had some issue. He was not very active in sports. So people in the family would say, "Arey, ye khelta nahi hai, ye khelta nahi hai." So, instead of praising him for other things, they would always pinpoint negativity. So, and when he would look at me, I said, "It doesn't matter, Mohin, it doesn't matter. You are so good in so many things. You know how many children eat gobi and tori and tinda? Get me those children. I am proud of you. I love you." And that kind of build it up for him. I think it's, as Mark sir said, I think it really depends on the parents how they are sending that love vibe to their own child, and that helps them grow and blossom.
Making them comfortable with what they are.
Absolutely.
If they are into teenage, Mark sir, you will agree with me that when we see class 8, 9, 10, so their posture is going to change. कोई बच्चा एकदम लंबा हो जाता है, कोई बच्चा छोटा रह जाता है, और body related issues. So even the helicopter parents, they are कि अगर थोड़ा बच्चा मोटा है तो यही खाओ, ये मत खाओ. My thing is that we should let child be happy. सबसे पहले हमारे बच्चे को खुश रहना, वो जो भी है जैसा भी है, his happiness is very very important. हम सब अपने बच्चे का अच्छा चाहते हैं, but बच्चा खुश है, we should ensure this.
Prachi, for this happiness, one little thing is very important, and I'm sure both of you will agree with me, which is acceptance first at your own level. The minute you accept your child, the child starts to accept himself or herself. The minute you show confidence in your child, the child starts feeling confident and loved. Mark sir, there's a question for you from the audience. They want to know how do you control the damage that people have made? There are parents who have already made mistakes. How do you control that damage?
You start loving your child like you never loved your child before. You sit your child down and you show your child that you're human. You sit your child down, you tell your child, you remind your child that I'm human. And I've goofed up, I put my hand up here, I've made some mistakes.
Wow.
And this is not the way to go forward. I'm here with you. I don't want you to ever forget that. You keep going in the direction you want to go. Ask me any question you want to ask. Tell me what you want to do. Tell me what your problems are. Let's sit and work through it together. See, there is a difference in being helicopter parenting. The opposite of helicopter parenting is distant parenting, which is also not advisable.
Absolutely.
Definitely not advisable. You can't be a distant parent. You have to be an involved parent. You have to be a conscious parent. You have to be an observant parent. So you can't keep your observations to yourself and use those observations to manipulate your child. Manipulation is the dangerous part. But it is when you are walking with your child step by step, showing your child, reminding your child, I'm just as human as you. I don't have it sorted any better than you do. I'm a goof, probably a bigger goof than you are. So let's just work through this together. I might know some stuff, I might not know some stuff, but we'll get help for it. We can work through it. So that's the only way of taking this back. There is no
Very well
magic
said, ma'am.
potion. There
Very
is
well,
no.
very well said. I
Very
think
well
it.
said, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very beautifully said, and I think as a parent, like what I do, like I'm not very good with maths, sir, or I can't teach maths. I was very bad in maths, so I was very. I mean, jokes apart, what I did was I told my son, I said, this is something I cannot help you with. He's like, Are you're the mother. I'm like, so? I said, remember, I'm your mom. I'm not a super mom. I need not have all the answers. I need not, like a man does
Absolutely.
not have to be Superman.
Yeah.
I should, why? I have to be normal. I have to tell him, like when Mohin asks me something about maths, even till date, he teases me now. He's like, oh, I have this question for you. I'm like, I'm not even listening, Mohin. Please don't do this to me. Because he knows, like, I don't know the answer. And there are times when I still remember when I didn't know the answer, I would tell him. I said, Beta, I don't know the answer, but let me look it up and then I will tell you. So what happens? He thinks it's normal. My mom need not have all the answers.
Right. You know,
And
Shefali ma'am, the thing is that we should be discussing with this thing with our children, that no one need to be a perfectionist. Even I am not a perfectionist,
yes,
but we need to be progressive. You know, the thing you are saying, same with me. I am terrible at maths, and now my son, he is in class 5, and that those where to put the decimal, I don't know. So the thing is, and now everything is on matlab, Zoom and online classes. So the thing is, I told him that, see, I am learning with you. These are the things that I couldn't, I was not good, but I'm trying with you. We will try together.
how
ठीक है,
beautiful.
देखते हैं decimal लगता है. But we should tell, and at every step, chahe whether it is a primary school children, or you have a teenager, or you have a adult child who himself is a father or mother, just tell that being progressive in your life is important rather than being perfectionist. No one is perfectionist,
Yes, that's a
right?
very beautiful thing, what you said just now,
Well said.
Prachi. I think we should not focus on just being perfect all the time. Progression is important. Step by step, every time we make, like if we are moving ahead, even if it's like one step, it's okay. And I'm sure Mark sir would have been, seeing so many students every day. By now, they would be knowing how exactly the kids would react in a certain way. There are some children who need little extra effort, and then there are some children who are kind of sorted. And I think, it's time we almost can wind up the session. But, I must tell you what I'm taking away from this session is, for me, what Marx has said is a very, very beautiful thing. He said, love your children irrespective of what they do, or what, you have to love them for who they are. It's very important. And the minute you start to accept your own children, actually the children also start to accept themselves, and they become comfortable within themselves. And of course, helicopter parenting is definitely very, very damaging, because वो उनसे उनके सोचने की उनकी क्रिएटिव होने की एबिलिटी छीन लेता है. अगर हम अपनी ओपिनियंस बार बार उन पर थोपते हैं, लेट्स नॉट फॉरगेट, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे हम अपने बच्चों के जन्म के साथी हैं, कर्म के नहीं. उनको अपने कर्म खुद करने दो. गलती करते हैं, करने दो. गिरेंगे, उठ भी जाएंगे. मगर अगर आप सोचो गिरे ही ना बच्चा, तो आप सोचो जब आप वहां नहीं होगे तो वो बच्चा क्या करेगा. Then the child will be lost. Even if that child is 45 years old, that child will be lost, because you have always hovered over that person, and you have never let that so-called child use their own imagination or their decision power. That's a crack. And we don't want, none of us want our children to take drastic steps and end up their life. That is the worst thing that anyone can do. I would like to thank sir once again. Sir, This was our honor to have you here. We completely
It
love
was an
this.
honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Prachi. I think you have really given your technical expertise for the same. I need to definitely thank CatFit and Pink Revolution for giving us this opportunity. And what is important is we always come up with these amazing sessions, amazing webinars. We want people to get conscious of what's happening around them. And we want them to be aware of what's really happening also within themselves so that their outer can be much better. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.